to Here We Testify. This is a platform where witnesses, including you, are called to take the stand and give their testimony of Jesus Christ in their lives. Episode 5. Oh my gosh, episode 5. So crazy. Wow. So today I'm testifying about worship. So last year, December 31st, I went to a crossover watch night service. Well, it was a very, very big service, very big church. And I remember that day in particular, I was upset with God. I was so upset with God, but I'm like, I'm gonna still show up to this crossover service. You know, I'm upset with you because one of my favorite worship ministers are coming. So I'm like, I'm gonna still go. I'm still going. I'm not talking to you, but I'm still going. And I was upset with God because, you know, when you get sick or like you've experienced something in the past and like it comes back, maybe it comes back a very reduced intensity. You're like, hey, okay, I guess I can start praying about this. Mine's, I'm not saying mine's because it's not mine. That sickness, it came back and it was like, I want you to know that I'm still here type of thing. So when it came back after like years at that point of it not being to that intensity of pain, I was very upset with God. I'm just like, what was the point of me praying all this time? Like, what was going on? And the pain lasted for several days, at least 4 days. So it was so sad because like after Christmas, I started experiencing that pain up until New Year's Eve. So New Year's Eve day, like the day of New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2023, I went to church in the morning with my family and I was just kind of praising God. I was like, almost like I'm not talking to you, like you didn't answer my prayer, like, you know. And for me, I thought I was beyond that because I'm like, okay, I don't only come to God when I need things anymore. I come to God to sit at His feet, to learn from Him, to learn more about Him. I come to God to understand my authority in Christ, to exercise my authority in Christ, to engage in spiritual warfare. I come to God knowing that I have the victory over any infirmity, any type of illness, any type of battle. So I thought I was beyond this posture of like, well, if you don't do things for me, we're not talking. But I don't know what happened. Like I was really, really frustrated with the Lord. So after our New Year's Eve morning service, we were all gonna go to like the crossover service at this other church. Yeah, I remember we got in the hall and it was so big and I felt like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. And like the entire service was so beautiful, from like the worship with the church's worship leaders and choir to the exhortation of the word from the pastor to different things that they would include to make the night exciting and engaging. And then they had one of my favorite worship ministers come out and I ran to the front. I ran to the front with my phone. Okay. Ran to the front with my phone and he started singing and I was like, oh my gosh, like I had my phone out, I was recording, I was enjoying the melody and the song, singing along. And then after he kept on going with his like worship set and we got to a point where he started like lifting up his hands and the way this individual worships, like this worship minister worship, it's like no one in the room. Like the way he worships, it's like nobody's there. He's not asking the crowd to do nothing. He's just worshiping and he's leading people into worship for us to worship our maker. So at that point, I was kind of getting like a bit of conviction to like put my phone away. But I'm like, I'm, I'm, I'm here to record this moment because even though I've seen this person at a concert before, I'm going to record this moment. I kept going on, recording and enjoying. And at points, I'll put my phone away and then I'll pull it back out. Cause I'm like, oh, I like the song. And then there came to a point where this worship minister went down on his knees and started crying out to God during his worship set. And I still had my phone out. And then I felt convicted, like, what am I doing? Like, why am I videoing this man of God as if he's like some spectacle, like as if it's a show? Like, why am I videoing him and recording him as he's worshiping the Lord? And why aren't I doing the same? I felt so convicted. And the song he was singing, there's a certain part of this song where it's like, how I describe it, I even forgot the words. Oh, I'm forgetting the words. Maybe I'll search it up. It's an elevation song, elevation worship song. It was on their album, Can You Imagine? Elevation Worship. I'm forgetting the song. More Than Able. Okay, so yeah, so I'll just read it because the song is called More Than Able, and this was what the worship minister was singing. So I'm saying, you are more than able, you are more than able. Who am I to deny what the Lord can do? And at this part, I felt the strong conviction. This part. It says, it's like, I've come a long way. I've seen how you work. Don't mind my voice. There's so much goodness and grace, much more than I deserve, 'cause I know who I am, but I can't stay where I'm at. This part, I know who I am, but I can't stay where I'm at. I broke down into tears. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, I know what God has brought me from. I know what God has done for me. I know who God has revealed himself to be to me. I cannot be this prideful. I cannot be this stubborn. I cannot be videoing this worship leader, this worship minister that I love so much and not take part in the worship. He is worshiping the King of Kings and I'm videoing him worship the King of Kings. Like, no, I can't do that. And there's been so many other times where I've taken videos and recorded worship ministers and, worship leaders at concerts, and I didn't feel that conviction. Not to say that it was good or bad, but I just didn't feel that conviction. But from that day forward, I was like, nah, when it's worship time, like intimate worship, I don't want to have my phone out. There's some songs I have to put my phone away and just be present and worship the Lord. There's nothing wrong with having your phone out or recording praises, worship. But for me in that moment, God knew where my heart was. My heart was far from the Lord. I wasn't recording, to be able to reminisce and watch a recording later on and bask in the presence of God. But there has been times where I would screen record a service, or I would record a service and I'm like listening to the song and worshiping God through it. But in this moment, my heart was far from God. I was upset with the Lord. As he was singing the song, I literally broke down into tears. Like, I felt like my heart got softened. And I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, what am I actually doing? It was just more like okay, like, I'm going to go back to God. I'm going to go back to the Lord. I'm sorry. Like, I just repented and apologized to the Lord. And thankfully, that was the last day of the year. See, like, can you imagine? The last day of the year, I got upset with the Lord. Can you imagine going into the new year with anger and frustration towards the Lord? Not that he will do anything and that, something's going to happen, bad going to happen to me, but it's just like, that's such a bad heart posture to have going into the new year. Like, I mean, at that point, not even hours, it was like maybe minutes going into the new year, maybe like 15, 20 minutes going into the new year. By the grace of God, he used this worship leader to soften my heart and make me actually listen to the lyrics and not just be swept away with the music and the melody, but listen to the lyrics he's singing. And it's just so powerful, like, because I had to realize, man, I know who I am, but I can't stay where I'm at. We've come this far by faith, and I just can't turn back. You're not done with me yet. Ooh. You're not done with me yet. There's so much more to your story. He's not done with you yet. God is not done with you yet. God is not done with you. So, yeah, this is my testimony whereby the Lord revealed to me the importance of intimate worship and not getting sidetracked of the worship experience, but participating in it. So, yeah, this is my testimony. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something from it. Talk to me in the comments. Let me know what you enjoyed from this video. And I will see you next week. Bye.